In the entertainment world, filled with stage lights and camera flashes, not all feelings can be expressed openly. Kim Taehyung is one of those figures who is often seen smiling, joking, and always seeming fine. But lately, many fans have begun to notice something different. His smile is still there, his laughter is still audible, but there's a layer of emotion he's no longer hiding. It's as if Taehyung is finally tired of pretending to be strong. And for many armies, one name keeps coming up as the reason: Jungkook. Taehyung is known for being warm, but reserved about his innermost feelings. He rarely explains what he truly feels, preferring to convey his emotions through his gaze, his tone of voice, or the lyrics of his songs, which he sings with such passion. But the small changes that have occurred recently have been too obvious to ignore. The way Taehyung looks down for a moment before smiling, the way he takes a deep breath when Jungkook's name is mentioned, and the way his facial expressions no longer try to hide his emotion. All speak louder than words. Many moments have left fans speechless. Taehyung seems to no longer be forcing fake laughter. When he's tired, he shows it. When he's touched, his eyes well with tears without trying to hide it. And most touchingly, whenever Jungkook is around him, Taehyung's demeanor changes, becoming more honest, more vulnerable, yet also more at ease. It's as if in Jungkook's presence, Taehyung doesn't need to pretend to be anyone but himself. Jungkook, in his simple, sincere way, is often present without words. He doesn't always reassure with hugs or grand statements, but his mere presence is enough. A brief glance, a small smile, or a barely conscious protective gesture. These are the little things that seem to make Taehyung feel safe. Safe not to smile, safe to be silent. Safe to be a normal human being with a roller coaster of emotions. For fans who have followed their journey from the beginning, this dynamic is nothing new. But now it feels different, deeper, more real. Taehyung no longer tries to project a fine version of himself at all times. He lets his emotions show, and Jungkook is always there, whether as the reason behind that soft smile, or as a shoulder to lean on when Taehyung looks vulnerable. There was one moment that made many armies hold back tears. When Taehyung remained silent for longer than usual, Jungkook instinctively approached. There was no dramatic dialogue, no grand gesture, just a quiet presence. But that's precisely where his honesty felt most powerful. Taehyung didn't need to pretend to be strong, because Jungkook was there to fill the empty space. This change left many wondering. Had Taehyung finally chosen emotional honesty over a facade of happiness? Was Jungkook the reason he dared to show his most human side? There's no definitive answer, but the feelings captured by the camera and felt by fans felt so real. This wasn't just a casual interaction. There was depth, there was a bond, there was a comfort that couldn't be faked. A Taehyung who stopped pretending was a more real Taehyung. And Jungkook, in all his simplicity, seemed to be a place where Taehyung could take a break from a world that demanded a constant smile. In their silence, fans saw a story of trust, of presence, and of feelings that need no words. Perhaps this is why their little moments feel so touching. Because beneath all the speculation and interpretation, one thing is clear. Taehyung is no longer alone in hiding his feelings. He's chosen to be honest, and Jungkook, in his own way, is always there to support him. And for ARMY, seeing Taehyung stop pretending isn't sad. Quite the opposite. It's a sign of courage, a sign that in this harsh world, he's found someone who makes him feel safe enough to be himself. Continuing the story, there's one thing fans are increasingly realizing. Taehyung's change wasn't sudden, but the result of a long process that slowly reached a point of honesty. For years, he'd been used to being someone who comforted others, someone who always appeared cheerful, as if his own feelings weren't a priority. But now, that wall was starting to crumble, not out of weakness, but out of trust. And once again, Jungkook was right at the center of that change. Taehyung seemed lost in thought more often. He no longer rushed to cover up silences with jokes. If the atmosphere felt emotional, he let it happen. And interestingly, Jungkook never forces Taehyung to be cheerful again. He doesn't distract, doesn't interrupt, doesn't demand. He's simply present. This consistent presence is what slowly gives Taehyung the courage to stop pretending. Many armies have noticed how Taehyung is now more expressive in his own way. His gaze has deepened, his words more deliberate, and his emotions more honest. When he speaks, it's as if a burden has been released. Not everything needs to be explained. Not every feeling needs to be named. It's enough to feel it. And Jungkook seems to understand that without any explanation. There are small moments that feel so big. When Taehyung looks tired, Jungkook is the first to notice. Not with an overreaction, but with a simple gesture, standing closer, adjusting his pace, or simply turning to make sure Taehyung is okay. These things may seem trivial to some, but to those who pay attention, they are the most genuine form of concern. Taehyung, who used to hide his emotions, now seems calmer when he lets them show. There's a maturity in the way he accepts himself. He no longer fights the feelings of sadness or emotion that come. And Jungkook, without judging, without asking too many questions, becomes that safe space. A space where Taehyung doesn't have to explain why he feels the way he does today. This is what makes many fans feel emotionally connected. Because what they see isn't just an idol on stage, but a human being learning to be honest with himself. Taehyung's giving up pretending doesn't mean he's giving up, but rather that he's found someone who makes it easier to wear a mask. Jungkook isn't the solution to all his problems, but he's the reason Taehyung dares to face his feelings as they are. This kind of emotional connection doesn't require confessions or grand declarations. It lives in the silence, in the understanding gaze, in the moments where words feel unnecessary. And precisely because of that, it all feels so real. Taehyung doesn't need to say he's tired. Jungkook already knows. Taehyung doesn't need to say he needs time. Jungkook gives it to him without asking. For ARMY, seeing this side of him is both a moving and comforting experience. It's moving because Taehyung finally has the courage to be honest. It's comforting because he's not alone. Jungkook was there, not to save, but to accompany. And sometimes, that's the purest form of love and care. Taehyung stopped pretending not because the world had become easier, but because he found someone who made him strong enough to be honest. Jungkook became the reason behind that courage. The reason Taehyung now chooses honesty over masks, feelings over pretense. And perhaps that's where true beauty lies.